Everybody's nerves were on edge. The crop was late that year. They were afraid of frost. And that's why my father did something he'd never done before in his life. He was working on a Sunday. It was a disgrace, my mother said. And to make up for his iniquity, she kept me cooped up in the parlor all that long afternoon.
No marches on Sunday, Tom. Hymns, yes. Marches, no. It's bad enough your father working on the Lord's Day.
But it worked out great for me, because Pa needed a man to stook, and he couldn't take time to fetch one. So here was I, Monday morning, off to town all by myself.
Be sure you pick up somebody big and strong. Go to Jenkins' store. He'll tell you who's in town. Yep.
And mind you get someone who looks like he washes himself. I just put clean sheets in the pillowcase on the bunkhouse bed so I don't want any dirty old tramp.
Best of all, it was a school day, and I could imagine them all saying, "Where can Tom Dixon be going?" I felt pretty big that morning. Poplar Bluff was 15 miles away, you see, and kids didn't go there alone. The town looked deserted. Of course, everybody was out harvesting. For in those days, every sheaf the binder cut had to be picked up by hand and stooped. Well, I'd been to the store and told them I needed somebody, and they said they'd heard a couple of guys had just drifted into town. But by now, it was time to eat.
Here, boy.
Ma had given me 30 cents for dinner, so I didn't want to waste it on meat and potatoes. In Wong's cafe, there was only one other customer. I wondered who he could be. He wasn't from town. He certainly didn't look like a farm boy. He was pale, for one thing. He looked a bit like a student minister we had once, except for the cigarette.
Tell me at the store you're looking for a couple of hands. What's your old man pay this year?
My father doesn't want a couple of men. He only wants one.
I thought you said he was a farmer. Just one man to stook?
It isn't true he only needs one man to stook. He's got 3 already. But this year the crop's so big he needs another. So there.
I know the kind of place. An acre of potatoes and a dozen hands.
I'd told a big fib, but I didn't like that fellow talking about my father the way he did, especially in front of a stranger. Then I felt sort of ashamed and foolish.
We really don't have 3 men. Just my father. But I'm to take one home today.
What about me? What I do? I need a job.
You don't understand. It's to stook. You have to be out in the field by 7 o'clock. There's only a bunkhouse to sleep in.
Doctor tells me I need a little toughening up. Hard work, fresh air.
You ever stooked?
I could learn.
Do you work?
I play in a band. Or at least I did play in a band.
In a band?
Sure, you ever see one of these things before?
And that beautiful shining trumpet was what clinched it for me. I could never have dreamed that one day I'd be bringing home a professional musician, Philip was his name, to live in our bunkhouse. On the way home, he told me all about playing in big cities before he got sick, but he was better now. And I told him about the time we went to the fair in Saskatchewan, and the bands all in uniform marching in the sunshine. And I even told him that's what I'm going to do someday. We didn't get home till supper time. I was enchanted with Philip. My parents were shocked, or disappointed at least. All through the meal, they said hardly a word.
You don't as rule do farm work, do you?
No.
He plays the cornet in a band.
If you'll excuse me, I'll go and unpack my things now.
Hey, didn't I say I want somebody big and husky?
Well, he's tall.
Yeah, a trumpet player. It's your fault. You and your nonsense about music lessons for the boy. You listen to me sometimes.
If you'd gone to town yourself instead of keeping him out of school, and if you did your work in 6 days a week like decent people, I told you it would come to no good.
Now, all this was in the days before people had radios. And music on a farm was a rare thing. Nothing much to hear but the sounds of the countryside itself. Evenings were quiet. The breeze, the sound of chores.
Do you know any marches?
Sure.
I was afraid my father might send him away. There was no time to lose now. I sneaked Philip out to the field and showed him what you have to do. How you have to shove the butts down hard into the stubble so they'll stand up. And try to slant them a little so they'll shed water if it rains.
Mommy! Bedtime!
I let out for home thinking, if my parents heard him play, that'll make all the difference. They'll understand. But they just looked as if they'd been quarreling again.
Did you hear him? I told you he could play.
What if he can? It's Amanda Stuke I want. Just look at his hands. I don't think the fellow's ever seen a farm before. All right, go to bed, son.
You can take a cookie if you like, Tom.
I figured out exactly what I had to do now. I'd get up first thing in the morning, and I'd help him get started. And maybe we could even get 4 or 5 acres done before I had to go to school.
Get a move on, Tommy. You're going to be late for school.
I could hardly blame my mother for me sleeping late that morning. She didn't know about my plan. But I was late for school, and for that I was kept in after 4 doing penmanship. What did penmanship matter when I just had to get home to help Philip? That was the crazy thing about school. They never understood what's important, and I could never explain. I'll work with Philip till we've got all the stooking cleaned up, and tonight, maybe if he's not too tired, he'll teach me how to play the cornet.
But there was nobody there. He'd started out all right. You could see that. But when I looked closer, I could imagine what had happened. There were sheaves lying on the ground he hadn't even picked up. He'd got sick or collapsed in the heat, or maybe just quit. And for the moment, I hated Philip. He had no business on a farm. I was scared now. My father would be shouting with rage, and he'd put all the blame on me.
I'm taking him back to town. He tried hard enough, but it's not the kind of work he's cut out for. Go on and see him, Tom. We'll be leaving in a minute.
Sorry, Tommy. Maybe next year. But I knew there wouldn't be any next year. Next year, the man in the bunkhouse would be tough and experienced. They'd see to that. They were gone just like that. But something had happened. I knew my father had understood something. That year, and all the years that were to come, we always managed to get the crop in. But it was that year's harvest my father remembered best. And when he'd grown old, he still used to say sometimes, "Wonder whatever happened to that fellow with the trumpet you brought home to stoop."